Good morning, Gabrielle. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for coming on board this morning and agreeing to have a chat with me.
My
Um,
pleasure.
yeah, so look, I invited you on, Peter, because I've met you over the years at a couple of gigs that we've worked on. But I suppose I've invited you to come in and do our next masterclass, which takes place on October 12th, 10:30 to 4 p.m. in the Evergreen in Terenure. And you're going to present the day, and it's going to be based around improvisation and comedy. Um,
Yes.
so I just would love the group to get a sense of who you are, Peter. And so would you, I suppose, will you go back to the origins of your passion, which is acting and improvisation and comedy? So how did you end up getting interested in acting, Peter?
It's funny actually. I met a guy, a lovely American actor called Hope,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with him, and he told me, "You should get into acting. You should get into acting." And I said, "Not at all, not at all." No, he says, "You're a good storyteller." I says, "Not at all. I mean, anything I'd done before like that would have been sponsored by Carlsberg or Guinness or something like that.
Yes.
Among my group, I'm the youngest in my family, so I'm the entertainer. Seems to be the position when you're the
Yeah.
baby of the family.
Yes.
And which I've never grown out of being the baby. Like I'm 60 years of age now, and I'm still the baby. Like it's
I
you
love it.
can't shake it off.
Yeah.
So, and then the Hope just said to me, so he rang the Gaiety School of Acting, and they sent me out the form for the introduction to acting, and I was terrified even filling the form, and I filled it in, and he had been speaking to me a bit about improvisation and how to basically say yes, the power of saying yes.
Yes.
So I reluctantly said yes to the form and I filled it in. I sent it in. He said, "I'd send it in for you." I said, "No, no, no, Jesus, no, that was way too fast." So I sent it in. And I got onto the class. I got onto the class in 2002. I did the introduction to drama. Terrified every day. I went dressed like I was going to a wedding or a funeral. New socks in case I could take my shoes off. Aftershave. I'm sure I smelled like a men's aftershave commercial.
Trying to impress.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I didn't know what it was, so I went ready
Yeah.
for everything, if you know what I mean, and capable of nothing. And then literally 22 years on now, I teach that series of classes, the
Wow.
introduction to drama, page to stage, advanced page to stage, and I did every workshop I could find in Dublin Corporation,
Yeah.
and I've been to Spain and France doing workshops in Commedia dell'arte and clowning, and so you just kind of mainly under the guise of improv because I quickly discovered improv because I would have a little bit of learning difficulties with a little bit of I suppose my first learning difficulties were the teachers, and then my second learning difficulties I've got a bit of dyslexia. So
Yeah.
um
I think a lot
so
of actors have that. I think I have that too, but probably undiagnosed. But
well, yeah, I'm self-diagnosed because I sat outside the Gate Theatre waiting for a friend of mine to come off stage after they were doing the Christmas show, and I listened for an hour a program about dyslexia, and I ticked about 7 of the 10 boxes. So
yeah,
that helped me, and I drove a taxi so I could become an actor. I
right.
consciously became an actor, a taxi, and I would take my lunch break and go and see a show every
Yeah.
other evening. So
Wow.
literally, it was a voyage of discovery, not none of it based on any solid knowledge or self confidence.
Yeah.
So, as I would use in improv terms, which I would talk about in the masterclass, is it's going into the unknown.
Yeah.
And we all are terrified going into the unknown. But the more
Yeah.
you practice, which is, the fundamentals of improv is to practice and to be in response, you get used to going into the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's why this is something that we should be teaching children how to have experiences rather than trying to get things
Absolutely.
right.
Or even adults. But I suppose improv is like, yeah, it's a life skill, isn't it? And it's about adapting and being uh, resilient in our lives.
Yes,
That teaches
and
us all
I
those
think,
skills.
yeah, about build. But I suppose, yeah. I mean, I'm saying yes, and to what you've said there, which is to building resilience, because we can't assume we have it.
Yeah.
If you walk down a street that you've never been down before, you can be nervous first because you're not sure what it is. With improv, it tells you go down a street you've never been down before. Don't be nervous, just be curious. Just
Yeah.
see what's on the street.
Yes.
And yes, this is where in broad sense of the arts is you have to create a safe environment. And I think that's the fundamentals of the arts, where our differences can be expressed in a safe way, and you have the right to listen, but you don't have to blindly criticize just because of uh, whatever sort of prejudices you've brought into the room.
Hmm.
So I've met so many wonderful people. I mean, I've done nothing but learn about people and myself.
Yeah.
And then I progressed then to do after doing the intro class. Then, as I said, I start teaching. But now I do corporate training, bringing improv into business. I was out in the Irish
Brilliant.
Management Institute there,
Yeah.
at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Teach presentation skills in the Law Society.
Yes.
Um, which again, it's, they've 3 minutes to present. So what you're
Yeah.
getting there, you bring into the style of the moth, that storytelling, just bringing your life experiences and knowing that it's enough. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to have this beautifully crafted career. Yes, you will end up with a beautifully crafted career, but that's not a starting point. That's to be attained, and that's the outcome,
Hmm.
of all the hard work. But
Yeah.
so just, what it is about, feel the fear and do it anyway.
It
It
is.
is about, and most importantly, listening. Because if you don't listen, you've no context.
That's it. Pete, can I ask you, so I know that you're also a comedian. So like for me as an actor, I've acted on stage, but the idea of standing up and being a comedian is kind of terrifying. For me. So can I ask what do you think the connection is between improvisation and being a comedian? How do those two things work together?
Um, I think doing defined stand-up comedy is really condensing your thoughts
Okay.
into definable lines and sentences with a beat and a rhythm that you're going to guarantee get a laugh. Because if people have paid in to see you,
Hmm.
you better be funny. If they've only walked into a room to hear you talk, well, then
Yeah.
that's just a little forum.
Yeah.
So I think my first stand up was, again, I would have been funny, and everyone says you should be on stage, but entertaining your friends with things that relate to you, like in jokes,
Yeah.
do not entertain an independent audience. So
Mhm.
I did the competition. Tony Ferns, lovely guy who runs the Halfpenny Bridge, the Battle of the Axe.
Yeah.
Many people have won. I mean, Tommy Tiernan, Darrow Breen, Ed Bourne, they've all gone through Battle of the Axe at some stage.
Yeah.
So again, it's that thing of get on stage and die on your arse and learn from that, rather than being afraid to get up in case you die on your arse.
Yeah.
So it is about, I have this funny thought, and sometimes it's just spontaneously funny, and
Mhm.
sometimes something has to be crafted.
Yes.
And that's the craft of stand-up comedy, because getting up and having a funny rant once in your life is a great experience. If you want to do it again, well, then all of a sudden you start finding, what am I going to talk about? Like, most stand-ups would start with the lowest common denominator, the fart jokes,
Yeah.
the feminine jokes, the masculine jokes,
Mhm.
the things that we would laugh about in school. And
Yeah.
then we realized, and eventually they say it takes about 8 years to find your voice.
Yeah.
Now, I predominantly ran a stand-up comedy club because I wanted to get experience. So I became the MC because I
Oh.
wasn't good enough to do stand-up. Ran the Bankers Comedy Club.
Yeah.
It's just an upstairs lounge that wasn't being used in the Bankers Bar, where we had been doing improv downstairs we did it for 13 years in total with the Crack Pack.
Yeah.
Again, that was my practical experience of doing improv. We
Hmm.
started by doing.
Yeah.
First, we didn't charge in, and then as we got better, we charged more. So we were saying, look, we don't have a laughometer, or it'll cost you a fortune to get out. You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
so
Okay.
people go through the bucket shake, the free gig. They're all part of the ground. But again, the fundamentals, like improv, once you learn the fundamentals of stand up comedy, which is the objective is to make people laugh with crafted material
Yeah.
while you're having fun. But it's like you on stage when you got your script. You
Mhm.
may be on a 6 week run, but every time you get on stage, you have to make it look like it's the first time these words have been spoken.
Yeah. And so you have to keep it fresh. Make it.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
and people struggle with that because they think it's a bit of a con. And my God, it's a joke. You mean you knew all those jokes? You weren't just, improvising.
Yeah.
No, it's a different skill. But there
Yeah.
are, again, the structure to improv where all you need is honesty.
Yeah.
Where sometimes with comedy, the first my measure to success as a comedian is, first of all, to be liked. Because
Okay.
if the audience like you, they feel safe. Again, getting back to that safe. If
Yeah.
they feel safe, there are
Yeah.
some people get up and they're amazing comedians. And I've seen guys coming up at the start, because I would run open mic nights as well, just to try
Yes.
and find my own, like, kind of nurturing comedy in my own way.
Yes.
Um, and sometimes they'll get up and the audience will really like them. Their intro was good. How you doing? You know, like they'd have a sort of open patter. And then they start telling jokes about Fritzl or something like this, you know, paedophile jokes. And all of a sudden everyone goes, oh, no, 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 Jesus,
Across
no,
the
no.
audience. Yeah, yeah. So
There
it's,
are rooms you can go into, a little bit like knowing your room.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
have
you
to
could
be
go
able to read the room,
through the
absolutely, or
room
you're
and they
lost.
love that.
Yeah,
So again, like a theatre, like if you want to run a good theatre show,
yeah,
you got to pick the areas you're going to put it on. But that's down to the management of the arts. Then I suppose we flip out then
mhm,
into the management of the arts, which is probably employs more people than actual performers. You know,
right.
whether it's from funding applications to theatre managers, front of house,
Yeah.
grant applications. So you know.
Peter, can I just, so somebody coming in on the day, so
Mm.
maybe they've never done improvisation before, they have no experience of comedy. What would you say? Like, if they would they be, are they in the right place? How do they
Absolutely,
manage during the day?
absolutely.
How will you look after them?
All you need is your own. All you need is to arrive, really. And again, the fundamental of improv, which I start off with, even no matter how experienced the group might be as performers, we just remind ourselves of the basics, the fundamentals of agreement.
Yeah,
Let's agree to be here.
yeah,
Now, what you don't know won't serve you.
yeah,
So whatever you have in your head is all you need.
yeah,
And you'll pick everything else up along the way. Like I'll introduce you to the technique of improv, and we'll
okay,
get to practice it.
yeah,
You don't have to know because I literally will show you
yeah,
what it is to be in response
yes, absolutely.
and
So you have
and
small
practice it.
building blocks to,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
nobody
And
be thrown in
then
the deep
there's
end.
one.
Yeah,
Oh, this is it. Once you like people that I would have gone to as a student, I've performed with them on stage, like Paul Tylak, Kevin Gildee.
yeah,
These guys are so gracious. It's like meeting a good teacher, like Antoinette Duffy, who I met in those early stages in the Gaiety School of Acting.
hmm,
Like she facilitates the graduates in Trinity. Like she does the arts degree. That's
yeah,
what she always says. She was my teacher. I knew nothing. Like my first monologue, I could only get 2 or 3 lines out. It was a
hmm,
Shakespearean monologue, Caliban in Tempest, and on
yeah,
bogs, fells, flats on Prosperfall. That's all I could get out.
yes,
I couldn't remember the rest. Yet at home I knew it all.
yeah.
And she literally was my midwife to the birth of me as an actor.
I love that. Yeah,
Now,
that's
when
fabulous.
I'm in the Gaiety School of Acting teaching, I'm just a fellow teacher.
Yeah,
There is no status. There's no case of, well, you do know that I know more than you. You do know that I've been at this more than you. It's, and Kevin Gildee is a stand-up comedian. He said to me one time, he says, Peter, it is incumbent upon us experienced actors to teach the people coming along,
yeah,
even if they become better than us, even if they become more famous. It's our job to share.
yeah,
It's our job to share experience and knowledge. Again,
hmm,
there's an improviser and comedian, and he set up the cellar, the comedy cellar in the
yeah,
International with Ardal O'Hanlon,
hmm.
and the two of
Wow.
them are wonderful comedians, but Ardal got that next vehicle,
Yeah,
got the Father Ted. Now, all the Irish comedians were in Father Ted, and they were all able to put that on the poster because the
brilliant.
people making Father Ted knew that if you could say you were in it, it sold tickets. So again, that's the commerce versus the performance.
Yeah,
So the administration and the organizing of an event is one thing, but the actual comedian, some people have the ability to do both. Like
yeah,
I used to organize an event and I'd go on as the MC. I always consider myself the least experienced and without being too negative, the least reliable as a given an outcome of a great show, right?
hmm,
And yet I never actually died. I've had 1 or 2 tough gigs, but I've never really died. I've never had not had material. I've always
yeah,
prepared.
yes,
Which is why I'd love my school teachers to see because they said I was lazy. And yet it's like as if I missed the first day in school and I was behind all the time because well
um,
they're gone, I'm still trying to
yeah,
work out bicycle and holiday and anniversary and
yeah,
so I was just always behind. But
mm,
yet when it comes to anything I wanted, I
yeah.
always applied myself. Like
Like, how do you think, your involvement in acting, improvisation, and being a comedian, how does that affect your everyday life? Like, how does that influence the way you live your life?
I think first and foremost it brings you through doors you never would have gone through.
Yeah,
Whether that's through a theatre,
yeah,
whether that's into a workshop, whether it's just going into the IFSC or so the IFI,
yeah,
having a look at the Oscar. that's there in the cabinet that everyone walks by.
Yeah.
Literally the people I've met,
Yeah.
and ultimately it's my arrogance, the arrogance of ignorance that I had when I was growing up, which in one say you can say you're giving self-confidence. My mom and dad would have been very encouraging of having a bit of confidence, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I had great freedom to
Mm.
go and do whatever I wanted, really.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think ultimately the arts for me just helped me put things into perspective in life. It gave me some
Yeah.
direction. And most importantly, it let me have what I was natural was to entertain people. I was naturally, as the baby, I
Yeah.
entertained. And
Yeah.
it gave me that vehicle. So, I mean, the thing is, you can learn an awful lot of things in the arts and end up not using them, and they'll still benefit you personally, or you can use them to become an amazing talent. You have a choice.
Can
So,
become.
say,
But
yeah.
I think a lot, like a lot of the training that we have done, I think, it serves you every day in the way you live your life. Even if
Well,
you
yeah.
don't go on and be in films or go on and do theatre, it's how you relate and how you listen, and sensitivity and awareness, I suppose, is a big thing as well.
Well, I mean, if I could, I reverse that question to you,
Yeah,
like what you're doing now, what the wonderful things that you're doing now to
yeah,
share this platform.
yeah.
Like, what's your, what makes you feel the want to do it, or what do you get from it?
What do I get from it? I suppose it's similar to what you said, Peter. It's the people that I meet and
Mm.
the connections that we make. And I suppose it's so funny. I have a little similar story, but I wasn't expelled from school. But I'd say,
Mm.
there'll be teachers there that I would have found me very talkative,
Mm.
but I wasn't very academic, but acting was kind of the thing when I was about. I joined the Dublin Youth Theatre when I was about 16, and in a funny way, it kind of served me. It
Mm.
saved me in my life. I started focusing, I started listening, I started studying Shakespeare, I started finding out about Chekhov and, paintings from that period. So the dots joined,
Yeah.
and my confidence built. So I believe in acting as really transformative, and also a great way to understand this life and to
Mm.
see our emotions played out on the stage, and our feelings, and share our stories. And I think that shouldn't be just kept for actors, professional actors. I think it's a really fantastic tool, and I'm very keen to spread the joy and the love that comes from acting, from drama and theatre, um,
Yeah.
and the connections. And I think, it's an amazing thing, and you know this too, Peter. Like, the wonderful thing with acting is, if you're a musician, you bring your instrument, or if you're an artist, you bring your easel, but we just turn up with ourselves in an empty room, and it's amazing. Like, strangers walk into a room, and by the end, by the time we leave, within that hour or within that afternoon or whatever time you have, there's a connection there that's kind of unbelievable, the connections that we can make with each other, because we've had a sharing and it's been personal. So it's unlike a French class or a Spanish class, or
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think it's quite deep, what happens in the class. But Peter, we
Yeah.
won't talk to you, and I could chat all day.
Yeah, well, there is. Can I make one? I know we're moving on, but just when you were speaking about that, the one thing that I say to people at the start of a class, right,
Yeah,
whether it's the intro class or not, and just this may make sense to the start of this podcast to tie everything up. I would say to everybody, you can leave your real life at the door at the start of a 2 hour workshop,
yeah,
and you can be sure that when you leave, it'll be there waiting for you.
yeah. That's a great
But
point.
in those 2 hours, it's safe there. You can come down and allow yourself to be pleasantly distracted into the world of wonder and fear and anxiety and performance.
Mm,
And it's like, whatever, wherever you are in life, whatever's going on, whether you're coming to an arts class, a drama class, an acting class, a comedy class, whether it's for therapy, whether it's to hone a skill, you don't need to tell anybody why you're there.
yeah.
Just be there. And because when you're there, you may come for one thing and actually end up leaving with something else. So there is this wonderful unknown. So just sorry for bringing you back to that. It was just that thing of like, just bring yourself and don't worry about what's going on. Because no one, I like to call it this camera of self-awareness we have
And
in life.
it's a brilliant thing because it's an adult class, and
Yeah.
like you find, like I have teenagers now. in
Mm.
my house, and nobody does anything unless their friend is doing it. But the
Yeah.
beauty of this is when we become adults, we realize, God, this is that our life is a journey without, being a cliche.
Oh God,
It
and you
is a
make so many. What a healthy environment to make friends.
Yeah, and the wonderful thing is, people come into that class by themselves. The majority of
Mm.
people, in fact, I don't think anybody comes with a friend. But they walk in by themselves and they look you in the eye and you just see there's a tiny bit of vulnerability because they've just walked in
Yeah.
that door. And my job, because I'll be there too, and your job is to mind that person and just,
Yes.
congratulate them for getting
Absolutely.
themselves
Just to
there.
pure, have fun, have a moment, and feel the fear, do it anyway, embrace it, and
Exactly.
literally just have the crack. Because I'm in the unknown as well. So are you. Because we'll be structuring a class.
Yeah.
I've got no definition of what the outcome should be, other than for every individual, and it may be different. But I
Yeah.
do know that it is safe and it is fun, and that's probably the two most important things: safe
Absolutely.
and
Oh,
fun.
yeah, fun. Lots of laughter,
Yeah.
guaranteed. Peter,
Looking forward.
listen, thank you so much, and
Okay.
we'll talk again. Fair play. Right,
Okay.
Peter? See you
Okay.
soon.
Everybody there. Bye bye now.
Yeah, see you. Bye.